Everybody, Dan Holstein here with another Rev Up Your Business video. Today it's part 2 in our 5-part series on time management. Last time we talked about the importance of having effective goals as it pertains to your time. Today it's about planning, and specifically planning out our thought processes for making the most of our time so we can accomplish what we want to accomplish as fast and as effectively as possible. Stick around. Alrighty, last time we talked about the importance of having effective goals in terms of making decisions around how we use our time. So today we're going to be talking about planning, but not just the doing of the planning, but talking about the mindset that we have to have and how we have to plan for possible self-sabotage and other stuck points along the way of achieving what we want to achieve and using our time wisely. So it was Jim Rohn who said, and I'm paraphrasing, everything you've attracted in your life is because of the person you've become. In other words, the goals that you've achieved, the environment you live in, all that stuff is based on the person you've become because you've taken action based on your decisions and thought processes that led to these things happening. So remember what we said in the last video, that having a goal is in effect creating some change. You're going to attract something into your life that you didn't have before. You're going to change something. You're going to delete something. You're going to add something. You're going to reconfigure something. You're making a change. So if we need to make a change, we have to start thinking just a little bit differently as well. We have to change. Not fundamentally, but it could be just in a very small way that's going to end up having a compound effect. So how do we know what do we need to change in our thinking? Well, humans are creatures of habit and pattern. So if you look back at other times that you've set a goal that you have not yet achieved, you can ask yourself, be really honest with yourself and say, why did I not achieve that? And here are some of the common reasons we don't achieve things that we initially set out to. Well, maybe it wasn't a SMART goal, so we weren't effective with actually delineating what the goal was, the thing that we were looking to accomplish. We might have left it too vague, and so it was too hard to actually get there because we were in motion, but we didn't know how we were doing. So it could be that we were just a little bit too vague. Could it be that we set the goal a little bit too lofty for the time frame we left ourselves? Could it be that we have such a gap between where we are now and the goal we set for ourselves, we don't have the self-belief that we can actually do it? And I think that's a really big one that we have to watch out for. So remember, we're setting about to make some change by accomplishing a goal. But the changes can be a little bit scary, right? We have to leave behind a little bit of who we were, add in a new component of who we're going to become in order to attract in and achieve what we want to achieve. And again, this is all in the perspective of using our time wisely. So when you think of somebody who would have the goal that you want to have, someone that you think is a good utilizer of their time, what are some of the habits that they have? What are some of the disciplines that they have to keep themselves on track and taking action on what they want to achieve? Because remember, who cares what you do with your time? It only matters if you actually have something you want to achieve or something that you want to change, but it's not happening yet. Right? Then we feel like we're wasting our time or don't have enough time to get there. So we need to model success in this case. So who do you know who's achieved something like you want to achieve and someone that you feel uses their time well? What are some of the thought processes that they have around how they value their time? That's a big one too. If we don't value our time, it's really easy to give in to distractions and go off on tangents and say yes to things that probably aren't going to help you achieve what you want to achieve. That can lead to us being too busy and overcommitted and tired and run down and overwhelmed and frustrated because we're just going without taking a break. We're not getting filled back up again. We're just giving and giving. So we want to make sure that we actually have clarity around what are the things that we want to say no to. Because saying no is as important as saying yes, maybe even more so. If you don't have a clear goal and you don't value your time, you might say yes to things that are absolutely not going to be helpful for you. So we have to get comfortable around saying no. It can be difficult. We don't want to let people down, and it makes us feel a certain way. And when we tell somebody no, we might think to ourselves, oh, what are they going to think about me? What if, are they going to think that I'm uncaring or unhelpful or unservice-oriented? We can get stuck on that, and we end up saying yes to things just for how we think someone's going to think about us, that we don't want them to think something negative. We have to disconnect ourselves with what other people think in order to use our time well. If you think of some of the most successful people you know, they probably are very difficult to get a hold of because they're very busy doing what they want to do to accomplish what they want to accomplish. They're not giving in to tangents and things like that. They're very, very focused. So the other thing here is that we want to do a self-audit and say, what are our strengths around execution and getting things done? And we all do have good time management habits, but we just need to improve them. So what are some of the things that we do really well? Maybe you're really good at getting up early in the morning. Maybe you're really good at being organized. Whatever the skills are that keep you using your time well, we want to make sure we know what those are, but also what are the things that we do that are not good habits, that are not helpful around the way we use time? Do we end up procrastinating because some of the things that we know we need to do to accomplish our goal, we don't like to do it? And so it might not be fun, or it's boring or tedious, or it could be scary because maybe we've never done it before. And so we find reasons, and this comes back to the patterns again, we find reasons not to do what we need to do. We get busy doing other things, and we don't prioritize the time for the activities that we need to execute on. Now, I'm going to be, in our execution planning video, which is coming up next, we're going to be getting into a bit of how to get around procrastination. But again, it's about valuing our time, taking the action on things we know we need to take action on. Last time we talked about accountability and visibility around our goals. Accountability and visibility around our actions is also important as well. Now, we have to be discriminatory. And not the negative discriminatory word. The Merriam-Webster dictionary defines discrimination as differentiating or distinguishing. So determining if something is different. So we need to differentiate between what's important to us achieving what we want to accomplish and what is not. And sometimes that can be challenging because we can be in these patterns of executing on things that aren't helpful for us. For so long, we're not really sure what we need to do anymore. So we have to learn to discriminate between the things that can help us achieve our goals and use our time wisely, the things we need to say yes to, and the things that we need to say no to. So that's it for this time on planning around our mindset. Next up is going to be planning around the execution, actually doing what we need to do in order to achieve what we want to achieve and using our time well. See you next time.